Every year, people hand over roughly $100 billion for something they could get for free from their own kitchen tap. Not because it's safer. In most cases, it isn't even different. Here's the part that should actually bother you. Almost half of all bottled water sold in America starts as regular tap water. Some of the biggest names in the industry had to admit this in writing, so if it's the same water, what exactly are you paying 300 times more for? We're going to walk through how one of the most ordinary products on Earth became a $100 billion industry, and by the end, you'll understand exactly which parts of this are marketing, which parts are real danger, and how to tell the difference the next time you're standing in front of that fridge. The first bottle. Boston, the 1760s. A company called Jackson Spa starts bottling and selling mineral water, not for hydration, for therapeutic purposes, sold as medicine, not as a drink. Companies in Saratoga Springs and Albany do the same thing shortly after. For over 200 years, that's basically what bottled water stays, a niche, health-adjacent product for people who believed a specific spring had specific powers. Then something shifts. Today, Americans drink 12.8 billion gallons of bottled water a year. That's 39 gallons per person, more than milk, more than beer, and last year, for the first time ever, more than soda. A therapeutic curiosity from the 1700s just outsold the single most dominant beverage category in modern history. That's not an accident, that's a machine someone built on purpose. The price tag, let's put a real number on what you're actually paying. $1.22 per gallon, on average, for bottled water. Tap water costs a fraction of a cent for the same amount. Do the math and you land on this. Some analysts put the markup as high as 300 times the cost of tap. And because most sales are single bottles rather than cases, the real number for an individual bottle can run even higher than that. Beverage marketing's own chairman said it plainly. Bottled water reshaped the beverage marketplace. That's not a critic saying that. That's the industry describing its own success, and the companies behind it aren't hiding their ambitions. Pepsi bought a 30-second Super Bowl ad, one of the most expensive pieces of airtime that exists, just to launch a new premium bottled water brand. That's not the marketing budget of a company selling you something scarce. That's the marketing budget of a company selling you something it needs you to believe is scarce. The admission. Here's the detail that should genuinely surprise you. Nearly half of all bottled water sold in the US starts as ordinary tap water. Treated, filtered, sometimes with a few mineral salts added for taste, then packaged and sold as something premium. In 2007, two of the biggest names in the business, Pepsi's Aquafina and Nestlé's Pure Life, were forced to change their labels, not voluntarily, because their labels weren't accurately reflecting where the water actually came from. Think about what that means. Two of the largest beverage corporations on the planet were selling tap water under labels designed to make you believe it wasn't tap water. And it worked. It's still working. The industry is worth $100 billion a year, but if the water inside the bottle is often identical to what's already coming out of your faucet, what's actually different? The test. Boston University ran a blind taste test, tap water against bottled. Only a third of the testers correctly identified which sample was the tap water. 2 out of 3 people couldn't tell the difference. In a taste test specifically designed to find the difference. And it's not just taste. Tap water in most developed regions is tested more frequently than bottled water. The Environmental Protection Agency handles that testing, and by law you're supposed to receive an annual water quality report, a consumer confidence report by July 1st every year, detailing exactly what's in your water and where it comes from. Both of these things are true at once. The industry has spent decades building an image of purity around bottled water, and the actual testing infrastructure in most of the country favors the tap. So if the public water is this well monitored, where does the real danger actually live? The exception. 15 million households in the US, mostly rural, all of them drinking from private wells. And here's the sentence that matters. The EPA does not test private well water at all. The agency states outright that it's the homeowner's own responsibility to keep it safe. A 2011 report tested private wells across the country. 13% contained at least one element, arsenic, uranium, at a concentration exceeding national safety guidelines. 13% untested, unregulated, and often the people relying on those wells have no easy way to even find out. Then there's Flint, Michigan, proof that even a public system, the kind that's supposed to be protected by regulation, can fail catastrophically when it's not properly screened. This is where the "it's all a scam" framing actually breaks down. For someone on a well with arsenic in it, or a family living through a Flint-level failure, bottled water isn't marketing, it's the only safe option they've got. The scam and the safety net exist inside the exact same industry, at the exact same time. But even where the water itself is harmless, there's a cost that never shows up on the price tag. What it actually costs. Here's a number that has nothing to do with money. Making the bottled water Americans consumed in a single year, 2007, took an estimated 32 to 54 million barrels of oil, not to fill the bottles, to produce them. And it gets stranger. Making 1 liter of bottled water requires 1.39 liters of water in the process. You lose water making the product whose entire purpose is delivering water. Then there's what happens after you're done drinking it. Billions of plastic bottles a year, ending up in landfills or oceans, despite label after label promising the plastic gets recycled. And recent studies have found something the marketing never mentions: microplastic particles showing up inside popular bottled water brands themselves. The products sold on the promise of purity, contaminated by the container built to sell that promise. The oil, the water waste, the plastic that doesn't disappear the way the label claims. None of that shows up on the $1.22 price tag, but somebody's still paying it, and the exploitation doesn't stop with the legitimate brands. The copycats. Once a real bottle gets thrown away, its story isn't necessarily over. In some markets, local operators collect those discarded bottles, refill them, not with anything tested, not with anything regulated, just tap water, sometimes worse. Then they reseal them, fake seals, look-alike names close enough to the real brand to fool a distracted buyer at a glance, names built specifically to pass for the real thing without quite being it. The corporations built an industry on convincing you tap water deserves a 300 times markup. The counterfeiters looked at that same industry and realized they didn't even need real water to profit from it. They just needed the bottle, the label, and someone in a hurry who wouldn't check twice. Same exploitation, running one level further down. So after all of this, the markup, the admission, the wells, the plastic, the counterfeits, where does that actually leave you, standing in front of the fridge? What's real and what isn't? Both things are true at once. That's the honest answer, even if it's not the satisfying one. For most Americans, on a standard public water system, the water from the tap and the water from the $1.22 bottle are functionally the same thing, tested more rigorously, priced at a fraction of a cent, sitting right there in your kitchen. And for millions of people, on an untested well in a town with a failing system, in a Flint-level emergency, that same bottled water isn't a scam at all. It's the only reliable option available to them. The part that's genuinely dishonest isn't the existence of bottled water. It's the industry spending billions to make everyone believe they're in the second group when most people are actually in the first. A recent poll found 63% of Americans worry a great deal about pollution in their drinking water, the highest that number's been since 2001. That fear is real. Whether it's earned depends entirely on where you actually live and whether anyone's checked. I'm not going to tell you to never buy a bottle again. Some of you genuinely need to, but the next time you reach for one out of habit, not thirst, not necessity, just habit, you'll know exactly what you're actually paying for. And it was never really about the water. So here's for today. If you liked the video, just hit subscribe and join Xcape.